Hi, my name's Carl DePrada. Today we're talking coffee and cybersecurity with Carl. Um, I run an IT firm out of Montrose, New York. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. Today I wanted to discuss 5 ways to protect yourself from online scams, whether that's emails, text messages, social media, bad websites. They're all going to ask you the same types of information. So the good news is even though there are many different sources to where criminals can go ahead and lurk, at least knowing this will help you become more aware and protected, and that's our goal. So what we're going to ask about in the message, regardless of whether it comes through any of those sources, email, text message, social media, is first, who is it from? What are they asking from in that message? If I click or do some action in that message, is there some type of danger I'm in? How do we look and see if this is a reputable source versus an irreputable source? And then we're going to talk about the different types of ways that these type of messages are going, from the spear phishing attacks to the general emails that are sent out in big, large email blasts. And we'll go into all detail on all these things. So, one of the things we've noticed before I even get into this is that there has been an increase in the amount of attacks because of COVID and people working from home, people are more susceptible to these things. So the first thing you want to do is and we're going to use email as an example, is we want to check where the sender's coming from. Do we recognize that sender? Is this somebody new? Is this somebody out of the blue that we did not expect an email from? So that's the first thing we're going to be looking at is, who's knocking on our door. And then we want to make sure that they look like who they're supposed to be. Like, think of this no different than a UPS man. He comes in, he has a brown truck and a brown uniform. He has a certain look about himself. Well, the same thing can be said about an email domain. So let's take Bank of America. Here it is. That looks pretty legitimate, bankofamerica.com. So what a scammer will do is look pretty close to what that is. If they want to pretend to be the Bank of America, they might add an extra N into the Bank of America. So now we have BANNKO of America. Bank of America. You get what I mean there. I'm sorry about that. Or let's go into even more importantly, Bank of America, BONKO of America. So these are simple ways that somebody can pretend to be who they're not, and these are the things you need to be on the lookout for. Now, you may not do this. Obviously, on average, probably people are getting somewhere between 100 to 300 emails a day easily. So you're not going to notice all of them. But what we're looking for is if you have an email that's suspect, this is going to be one of the things that you can do to check. Now, the other thing to look at is what happens when an email is compromised. That means that somebody's pretending to be the person that they're not. They may have stolen the credentials. They may have figured out how the email wasn't locked down well enough to prevent somebody from spoofing it. So we call these compromised email accounts. And one of the latest things that have been going on have been basically gift card scams. So your boss isn't emailing you about a gift card. The scammer will send you an email impersonating your boss, and then what they're going to do is they're going to try to hack into the account. They'll make up some story about needing your help with something, and they may have lost their phone and they can only use an iPad or something like that. But they have a timeline, they have an office surprise party or whatever, some type of event, and it's very short on time. And they're asking you to do a simple errand. They may be asking you to purchase bank gift cards out of your account, and then text them the numbers and the PIN so they can go ahead and use those for whatever the issue is. So that's another way it's coming in. So again, this brings us back to like the message. So what are they asking you to do? Notice we talked about this. There was, is it urgent? Again, we talk about a limited time. Are they referring to something you're not aware of, a party or something? Are they requesting something that's unusual? Buying gift cards, using your own personal funds, things like that can trigger it. There are also other types where you might get a spectacular offer, to your local restaurant that's just too good to be true. It probably isn't. I hate to say that. And they may be asking you for some reason that you cannot directly communicate with that person. They don't want to get on the phone, or there's a reason the phone is out, or something along those lines. So that's, this is again what we're looking at for them, is something out of the ordinary there. So let's talk about links and attachments. So if you mouse over a link in one of these suspected emails, you will see that either the link looks legitimate, like it's attached to the domain, like bankofamerica.com/blah blah blah. As long as you see that that particular domain looks correct and there isn't extra letters before the name starts or after the name, then you're good to go. The other things you want to look at are, what types of documents are being attached. They might be asking you to open up a PDF, a doc file, or an Excel spreadsheet. May have what's called an embedded macro inside of them, which may launch malware attacks and other forms of viruses. Also, they may be saying to download something that they may say is a Word document, but if you look at the extension, it has a .dot or HTML or BAT. These are all forms of programs, and they shouldn't be sent in email form. Also, just by opening up a picture that's inside of the email onto a browser and mousing over it, just running your mouse over that picture, may be enough to send a command to download some type of virus or malware or ransomware in there. So again, going back to, if you don't know the sender, you're not sure, you can mouse over the link inside of the email, but you do not want to open up the picture files to check, because they may have something embedded that you did not know about. So the next thing we want to look at is, are the sender and the reply back to sender the same? So this is a quick way of really checking the reputation. Here we have John Smith at any company. Let's say he's your boss. His email has gotten compromised. And when you reply back, you notice that the email now has a different reply to address. Well, that's a red flag for you to realize that that email has probably been compromised. Now, there are reasons to legitimately use a different reply to address. They're usually used in marketing emails, where they may send from one address and have it come back so that they can track, for whatever reason, for shipping or something like that. But 99% of the time, the email that is sent to you should have the same reply to address. It's just good hygiene as far as that's concerned, and creates trust. So when you see something like that, again, that should be a red flag, to stop and look where you're going. Now let's just talk about the different types of attacks. Ones are that I call blanket attacks, automated attacks, versus spear phishing attacks. Well, a spear phishing attack is a personalized attack. They get your information. They may be tracking you on social media. They may be looking for you in news articles and learning as much as they can about you as a person. Those are the harder ones to detect for. But again, using the tricks of, like, when they make their introduction, does everything look like it's on the open or not? Going back to those other steps are some of the things that you need to do. If it's one of the blanket attacks, which is much easier again to search for, one of the things you want to look for is bad grammar. And the reason for that, and a lot of people say, well, why are they speaking so poorly? What has happened is that the scammers, usually if they're outside of the country and English is not their native language, what they'll do is they'll use spell checker and some type of translator to translate what they want to say into our language. The problem is that the grammar doesn't always match up, and that's usually a red flag to why that this person is coming from a different location. Again, if you're looking at them asking you to download a DOT or an HTML or a BAT file, is there. Another thing is, let's say you do business with a company and they proceed to say that they've had an issue with your account and they don't use your name. Well, they know who you are, and standard procedure is to address from you. And the reason that they don't use your name is the scammer may have gotten the email and not your particular contact information, or be using a sophisticated enough form of sending mail out to be able to label your to label each particular email with a customized name on in there. So whereas a larger company is definitely going to do that, and so those are things that you need to look for as well. So here I'm going to give you a couple quick examples here. So if you notice here, we have dear client, not the person's name. Your package is waiting for delivery. please confirm the payment of, I guess this is Canadian, in the link below. And online, your verification needs to be done in the next 14 days before it expires. Again, there's this whole part of a sense of urgency. Now, if you right-clicked over the click here, you probably won't see Canada Post-tracking.ca. As the link. You'll probably see some form of weird website that's there. The next one we've got here, again, this is very simple, is Netflix, and then it says hi dear comma, and so again, you click in this and you're going to be taken to a different site. Now, if you have a question, what you can do is, instead of update your account now, you can just go to Netflix directly and log into that site and see if you have an issue with the account, if you have a question about that. Here's another one where somebody pretended to be the person's boss. Hello, I'm just reaching out to you as you are one of my only hopes for help at this time. Most bosses don't talk like this. This morning I noticed the symptoms of coronavirus and I decided to get tested. Unfortunately, the results happened to be positive, hence I'm isolating myself, and I have only access to email on my iPad, which I'm using to contact. I left my phone at home before isolation. Why would they leave their phone at home before isolation? Wouldn't they be isolated at home? Can't make or receive calls. Very convenient. Please, I need your help. Again, another beg for help. And people want to help. Just send me an iTunes or Walmart gift card. Not pretty particular, so I can purchase my daily essentials online. What are you going to buy at iTunes that's a daily essential when you're going into quarantine? And then again, please buy it now. Take a picture of the number and send it to me. I will pay you back as soon as I return from isolation. Charlie Jackson. Now, I guarantee you when this person sends that money, it's going to be gone. It'll be sucked right out of there. And some of these do look a little comical, and they do make you say, well, geez, do they fall for that scam? But you got to remember that the frequency and the fact that you may be caught at different times of the day under stress is also another reason why you need to be vigilant about cyber attacks, especially as we go into holiday weekends where you'll see more frequency. They only have to be right once. You have to be right every time in order to protect yourself. So, hey, if you're getting an email, you think it might be suspect and it doesn't contain any sensitive information, feel free to reach out and via email. If you've accidentally clicked on something and are looking for help on what to do next, again, reach out. We're here to help. Again, thank you for your time. It was a pleasure, and talk to you later. Take care.